Okay, welcome back. In our last class, we did transformation of assertive, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory sentences. Now, and the transformation of negative and affirmative sentences that also we have done. Now, we have to see the third and the fourth one. That is transformation of active and passive voice sentences and the transformation of positive, comparative, superlative, degree sentences. These two transformation we will be doing in this class. So this will be our second session in the study of the transformation of sentences. This will be the second session. Okay, let us get started. Right. Transformation of active and passive voice sentences. It is quite a simple. Active voice and passive voice we have discussed it in detail in our last class. The class that we have done some days back. Everything about active and passive voice. In that we have discussed when, where, how, why we use passive. Everything we discussed in detail. So now we can make a fast run on this because you are already familiar with it. Anyway, what is this active and what is this passive voice? It is quite simple. In an active voice, who is very active, the subject is very active. And in active voice, who gets prominence, the subject gets prominence. But in passive voice, the subject is passive. The subject simply allows something to be done on it, and in the passive voice, who gets the prominence, the object gets prominence. Okay, right. So all these things we discussed in that active and passive voice class. Now these 12 tenses are there. We know that three main tenses, the present tense, the past tense and the future tense. Each tense has four forms: simple form, continuous form, perfect continuous form. You know that. So totally we will get how many tenses? 12 tenses, isn't it? For these 12 tenses, how many passive voices are there? Only 8 passive voices. It means that 4 tenses don't have passive forms. Which are the 4 tenses without passive form? Yes, we have already done it. All perfect continuous tenses and the future continuous. Which are the 4 tenses without passive forms? All perfect continuous tenses and the future continuous. How many perfect continuous tenses are there? 3, isn't it? Present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous and future perfect continuous, isn't it? So, and future continuous. These are the 4 tenses which don't have passive forms. The remaining 8 tenses have passive forms that we know, and we have already seen what is the structure, pattern of these passive forms. If you want, once again I will show you quickly the passive structures of these 8 tenses which have passive forms. Present tense. Okay. Present tense. Simple present. What is the passive form? Okay. Subject plus am or is or are plus pp. Isn't it? PP means past participle, third form of the verb. You know that. Present continuous. Subject plus am or is or are plus being plus pp. Isn't it? Okay. Present perfect. Subject plus have or has plus been plus pp. Isn't it? This is the passive form of present tenses. Simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous, no passive. So past tense. Past tense. What is the form of this past tense passive voice sentences? Simple past. Okay. Subject plus was or were plus PP. Isn't it? Okay. Past continuous. Subject plus was or were plus been plus PP. This auxiliary will be same in all continuous, whether it is past or present. Then past perfect. Subject plus had plus been plus PP. Here also we have been there, no difference. Past perfect continuous, no passive. Then future tense. Future tense. In future there are only two tenses having the passive form, that is simple future and future perfect. Future continuous and future perfect continuous has no perfect form, and we discussed. Okay, simple future. What is the form? Subject plus will or shall plus be plus PP. Past participle. Only verb form that may occur in a passive voice sentence is PP only, past participle. Only third form of the verb will be there in passive form, whatever be the tense. Okay, simple future. Now future continuous. Future continuous has no passive. Future perfect. Okay, subject plus will or shall plus have plus been plus PP. Subject plus will or shall plus have plus been plus PP. This is the passive form of the tenses, 8 tenses. Okay, so now we are going to do transformation of active and passive voice sentence. That is why I am showing the pattern of these passive voice sentences. We have to transform a sentence from active voice to passive voice and vice versa, isn't it? So, active and passive, this interchange also comes under transformation of sentence. What do you mean by transformation of sentence? Right in the beginning I told you, transformation of sentence means changing the form of a sentence without altering the sense of the sentence. When we change a sentence from active form to passive form, whether the sentence undergoes any change in meaning? No. Whether it is active or passive, meaning remains the same, isn't it? I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter. What is passive form? A letter was written by me. When I say I wrote a letter was written by me, basically there is any difference in meaning? No. Only the form of the sentence is getting changed, isn't it? So that is why active and passive voice also comes under this transformation of sentence. Okay, let us start how we can change a sentence from active into passive form, applying these passive structures. Very simple, this you know. Let us make a fast run. Let us take an example and let us apply the same example for all these tenses. She does the homework. See this sentence. She does the homework. Very simple sentence. What is subject? She. What is verb? Does. What is the homework? Obviously it is object. What is object? Object is something or someone which undergoes the effect or the impact of the action denoted by the verb, isn't it? That we discussed in our active and passive voice class. And how can we find out an object in a sentence? By asking two questions to the verb, isn't it? What are the two questions that we have to ask? What or whom, isn't it? She does what? She does the homework, isn't it? So, obviously, the homework is object. How And what is the tense of this sentence? This is in simple present, isn't it? What is a simple present passive? Subject plus am or is or plus pp. So let us apply this passive format here now. Very simple it is. The homework is done by her. She does the homework. The homework is done by her, isn't it? The homework subject is past participle done, isn't it? The homework is done by her. Basically, is there any difference between these two sentences? She does the homework. The homework is done by her. One is in active, another is in passive. Basically, there is no difference in meaning. So, this is how we transform a sentence from active into passive and vice versa. Okay. Now, let us quickly do all this. She does the homework. What will be the present continuous of this? She is doing the homework, isn't it? Then what will be the passive? This will be the passive. So, the same object will be the homework is being done by her. The homework is being done by her, isn't it? What will be the present perfect of this? She does the homework. She has done the homework, isn't it? She has done the homework. What will be the passive? Have or has plus been plus past participle. So what will you get? The homework has been done by her. The homework has been done by her. Present perfect continuous has no passive. So let us go to past. What will be the simple past of this? She does the homework. Very simple. She did the homework, isn't it? She did the homework. If the active voice is in simple past, what will be the passive structure? Subject plus was or were plus if. So what will you get? The homework was done by her. She did the homework. The homework was done by her. What will be the past continuous of this? She does the homework. She was doing the homework. Then what will be the passive? The homework was being done by her. This also will be same in past, present and all. In this continuous also being, here in this continuous also being, in this present perfect being, in past perfect also being. So that remains unchanged. Okay, the homework was done by her. Past continuous will be she was doing the homework. Then what will be passive? The homework was being done by her, isn't it? The homework was being done by her, isn't it? Very simple. Okay. Then what will be the past perfect of it? Past perfect will be she does the homework. She had done the homework, isn't it? She had done the homework. What will be passive? The homework had been done by her. The homework had been done by her, isn't it? The homework had been done by her. Okay, so past also is over. Then what is future? Very simple. Okay, so the future of this will be she does the homework. She will do the homework, isn't it? She does the homework. Simple future will be active. She will do the homework. Simple future active. What will be the passive? Subject plus will plus be plus past participle. Then what will you get? The homework will be done. Will be done by her. She will do the homework. The homework will be done by her. No difference at all in meaning. Future continuous has no passive. You know that. Yeah, the future perfect. In future tense only two tenses have passive voice. Future perfect. What will be the future perfect of this? She does the homework. she will have done the homework, isn't it? She will have done the homework. Then what will be the passive? This will be the passive. That plus will shall plus have plus been plus past plus. So the future perfect passive will be the homework will have been past participle of do dash did, then do dash did done, isn't it? So the homework will have been done by her. The homework will have been done by her. So it is very simple. All these things we have discussed in our active and passive voice class, everything about active and passive. So if you wish to know something more about active and passive, please once again view our active and passive voice class. Okay, so this is very simple. If we can change a sentence from active into passive, we can do the other way around also, isn't it? Okay, we can change a sentence from passive into active. That is what is transformation of sentence is all about, isn't it? We can change a sentence from active into passive. We can do the vice versa also, isn't it? Okay, now let us see some sentences in passive and let us see how we can change them into active without making any difference in the meaning. Okay, right. I was given a watch by her. I was given a watch by her. I was given a watch by her. So, sentence is in which tense? Simple past passive. Simple past passive. Subject was past participle. I was given what? A watch by her. Simple past passive. So how you will convert, transform it into active? I was given a watch by her. So who is doing the action? She. So active you have to start with the she, isn't it? She gave what and to whom? She gave me what? A watch. She gave me a watch. She gave me a watch. Then passive will be I was given a watch. She gave whom? Me. She gave what? A watch, isn't it? So you can change it into passive in two ways. I was given a watch by her, and with the direct object also you can change into passive, isn't it? Then what will you get? A watch was given. A watch was given to me. A watch was given to me by her, isn't it? So both the passive will be there. So, and there are two objects. We can change the sentence into passive voice in two ways. This we discussed in our active and passive voice classes. See another sentence. We will be invited. We will be invited by her. We will be invited by her. So, the sentence is in which tense? Simple future passive. So, what will be the active? Very simple. Who is doing action? She, isn't it? So, she will invite. She will invite whom? She will invite us. She will invite us. She will invite whom? She will invite us. Passive. We will be invited by her. We will be invited by her. She will invite us. Is there basically any difference in meaning? Not at all. One is in passive, another is in active. That is all, isn't it? Okay. Then a car had been bought. A car had been bought by them years back. A car had been bought by them years back. Very simple. What is the tense? Past perfect. Past perfect which voice? Passive voice, isn't it? Past perfect passive. Subject had been past participle bought, isn't it? So past perfect passive. So you can transform it into active. Very simple. A car had been bought by them. So who is doing the action? Them. They, isn't it? So they had bought what? A car years back. Okay. A car had been bought by them years back. They had bought a car years back. This is in active, this is in passive. These are basically in difference meaning, not at all, isn't it? So this is how you can change a sentence, transform a sentence from active into passive and vice versa. Very simple it is. Okay. Sometimes till now we changed a particular tense from active into passive. Sometimes you may have some auxiliary verbs like should, must, may, can, etc. in the sentence. And sometimes you may have infinitive forms also. Infinitive forms. What is this infinitive form? Two forms, isn't it? So sometimes infinitive form may be there in the sentence. Sometimes you may have this kind of assembly. Then how will you convert such a sentence into passive? Very simple. Simply use be. Simply use be. Not root. Simply using be, you can change such sentences. See one example. You must do it. You must do it. You have must here. Do verb. You must do what? It. So how will you change it into passive? Object will come. Subject. It must. Then this be must be there. It must be done by you. You must do it. It must be done by you. Very simple. She should help them. She should help them. She should help them. She should help whom? Them. Isn't it? So this is an active voice. How will you change? She should help them. They should be helped by her. She should help them. They should be helped by her. Is there a difference meaning? Not at all, isn't it? So if you have this kind of infinitive also, if you have some sentence with the two infinitive, there also you must use be. Let us see one sentence. Okay, see the sentence. You are to do it. You are to do it. Now we have an infinitive. You are to do it. How will you change it to passive? Very simple. You are to do what? It. So we have to start passive with it and with object. It with it what will be there? Am or is. With it we have to use is, isn't it? So it is to. It is to be. It is to be. Then do, did, done, isn't it? It is to be done by you. You are to do it. It is to be done by. Why here are is there? Because here subject is I. But in passive subject is becoming it. So is must be used. So it is to be done by you. You are to do it. It is to be done by you. Any difference? No difference at all. See the sentence. You you have to complete the work soon. See the sentence, you have to complete the work soon. You have to complete. Here also you have infinitive form. You have to complete what? The work. That is object, isn't it? So you have to start with the work. The work has, after the work, have will come, has will come. Has. Why have is coming here? Because here subject is you. But after the work has to come, the work has to be, the work has to be completed, isn't it? The work has to be completed by whom? By you. You have to complete the work soon. The work has to be completed by you soon. Isn't it? The work has to be completed by you soon. Isn't it? So, if you have model of space like will, should, may, must, etc. And if you have this kind of to infinitive and all, you must use be. So it is very simple. So this is how you have to transform active voice sentence into passive voice and vice versa. Okay, right? Let us go ahead. What is next? Transformation of positive, comparative and superlative degree sentence, isn't it? So now let us see the fourth one. Transformation of positive, comparative and superlative degree sentences. Okay, right? Okay, so what is positive degree, what is comparative, what is superlative? Let us examine that first. What is positive? In a positive degree sentence, we describe the quality of somebody or something in a general sort of way. That is without making any comparison and all. In a positive degree, we simply describe the quality of somebody or something in a general sort of way without any comparison. For example, see this sentence. Positive. In positive, what will be the condition? In positive, we simply describe the quality of somebody or something in a general sort of way. See this. John is a smart boy. John is a smart boy. When we say John is a smart boy, whether we make John's smartness, whether we compare John's smartness with anyone else, no. We simply describe his quality in a general sort of way. John is a smart boy. So, only smart is there. This is positive degree. Okay. What will be the comparative degree of this? Okay, let us see. In the comparative degree, we have to compare John's smartness with the smartness of someone else, isn't it? So see the sentence. John is smarter than Harry. When we say John is smarter than Harry, who has the greater degree of smartness? John. Whose smartness is more? John's smartness is more. Here we are comparing John's smartness with Harry's smartness. And who has a greater degree of smartness? John. So John is smarter than Harry. Which degree is used here? Comparative degree. And always in a comparative degree, what will be there? Then will be there. Okay. Now let us see what is the superlative of this sentence. In a superlative degree sentence, what are we doing? Yes, in a superlative degree sentence, we describe the quality of somebody or something by saying that that quality is of the highest degree. What are we doing in a superlative sentence? In a superlative degree sentence, we describe the quality of somebody or something by saying that that quality is of the highest degree. Okay, right? Let us see what will be the superlative degree of the sentence. See the sentence. John is the smartest of them all. John is the smartest. The is the in a superlative degree, always the will be the smartest superlative degree. So John is the smartest of them all. When we say John is the smartest of them all, whose smartness is of the highest degree? John's smartness. Here, how many people are there? Them. Only two are there? No. In a comparative degree, there will be only two. But in a superlative degree, there are many. But out of all those people, who is the smartest? John. So, in a superlative degree, we describe the quality of somebody or something by saying that that quality is of the highest degree. Okay, right? So, these are the three degrees of sentences: positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. Now we understood what are the three degrees. What we have to do is transformation of sentence. We have to transform these sentences from one degree to another degree. We have to transform a sentence from positive into comparative and vice versa. We have to transform a sentence from positive into superlative and vice versa. And we have to transform a sentence from comparative into superlative and vice versa. That is what we have to do. But before going for that, we must know how these three degrees are formed. Smart, smarter, smartest. Isn't it? So, these are the three degrees of the word. And with which words we add these degrees of comparison? Yes, it is with an adjective and adverb. It is with the adjectives and adverbs that we apply these degrees of comparison. These suffixes like er, est, etc. we use with an adjective or adverb. Now, what is the rule of applying this er, est suffix with the positive degree of an adjective? Can we use er and est with all positive degree adjectives? No. Sometimes we will have to use more and most. Everywhere by adding er and est suffixes, we cannot form the comparative and the superlative degree from an adjective. But sometimes we will have to use more and most also. Where we will use more and most, and where we will use er and est, let us discuss. Okay. If the adjective is of, if the adjective is of a monosyllabic word, which word? Monosyllabic word, we must use er suffix and est suffix for the formation of comparative and superlative degree. If the word is a monosyllabic word, adding er and est, we can form the comparative and superlative degree from that particular adjective. And if it is a triosyllabic and more than that, we must use more and most. If the adjective is of a monosyllabic word, add er and est. If it is a triosyllabic and more than triosyllabic, it more and most must be used. And if it is a duosyllabic word, then there will be some problem, because some duosyllabic words take er and est suffixes for the formation of comparative and superlative degree, whereas some other duosyllabic words take more and most for the formation of comparative and superlative degree. So what matters is the syllable. What matters is the syllable in an adjective. How many numbers of syllables are there? And what is this syllable? That is a question now. What is a syllable? From the area of grammar, now we are approaching the border of phonetics. Because syllable etc. come in and the topic of phonetics. What is this phonetics? Phonetics is the study of speech sounds. Phonetics is nothing but the study of speech sounds. It is one of the branches of linguistics, just like grammar, isn't it? So from the study of everything is interconnected, isn't it? So from the area of grammar, now we have to approach the border of phonetics to understand what is a syllable. So what is a syllable? Nothing very simple. Syllable is a small sound unit. Syllable is a small sound unit in a word. Understood? I will give an example, then it will become very clear to you. See this word. Difficult. Difficult. Okay, what is the pronunciation of difficult? Isn't it? These are symbols. These are called phonetic symbols, international phonetic symbols. How to pronounce a word correctly, that is what these symbols show. So anyway, you don't enter that confusing area. You just see what is a syllable, that is. Syllables are small sound units in a word. Syllables are small sound units in a word. Or syllables are natural division of sounds in a word. Syllables are natural division of sounds in a word. In this word difficult, how many natural divisions of sounds are occurring? Very simple. Difficult. That is all, isn't it? In this word difficult, how many natural division of sounds are occurring? Difficult. Difficult. We don't say difficult, isn't it? We say difficult, isn't it? So naturally, how many small short pauses are coming? 3, isn't it? Difficult. So difficult. In this word, how many syllables are there? 3 syllables. So what is syllable? Syllable is nothing but small sound units in a word. How many sound units are coming in this word? 3 sound units, isn't it? How many natural division of sounds are happening here? 3 natural divisions. Difficult. This is what is called a syllable, isn't it? So it is by seeing the number of the syllable in an adjective that we decide what must be added with the positive form. Whether er and est must be added with the positive form for the formation of comparative and superlative degree, or more and most. More and most must be used for the formation of comparative and superlative degree. It is the number of the syllable in the adjective that determines what must be added. Okay, quite clear now? Right. So, now listen. With the monosyllabic word, if the adjective is of a monosyllabic, what is monosyllabic? Having only one syllable. If there is only one syllable in the adjective, just add er and est. and you can form comparative and superlative. If the adjective has 3 or more than 3 syllables, that is triosyllabic. 3 syllables and more than 3 syllables, just add more and most. So, with the monosyllabic words and triosyllabic and more than that, no problem. Simply add er and est more and most. But if the adjective is of a duosyllabic word, if the adjective is duosyllabic, if there are only 2 syllables in the adjective, then some headache will be there. Because some duosyllabic adjectives take er and est for the formation of comparative and superlative degree, while some other duosyllabic adjectives take more and most. And there is no shortcut way to study those duosyllabic words. Which duosyllabic take er and est, which take more and most. No shortcut way. You have to learn it by learning only. No other way. Okay. Anyway, I will show you some examples for this. So for a monosyllabic word, with a monosyllabic adjective, simply add er and est. Cold, cold, only one syllable. Cold, colder, coldest. Isn't it? Cold, colder, coldest. Adding er, we can cold, cold, hot. H-O-T, hot, hotter, hottest. Hot, hot. Slim, S-L-I-M, slim, slimmer, slimmest, isn't it? So here all these adjectives contain only one syllable. Hence, by simply adding er and est, we made the comparative and superlative degree. But if the adjective is of a triosyllabic and more than that, if the adjective contains 3 or more syllables, what we must do? We must use more and most for the formation of comparative and superlative degree. For example, see the word dangerous, D-A-N-G-E-R-O-U-S, dangerous. How many syllables are there? Dangerous, dangerous, isn't it? 3 sound units are there for triosyllabic. So, can you say dangerous, dangerouser, dangerous? No. We say more dangerous and most dangerous, isn't it? More dangerous and most dangerous, isn't it? Another adjective you take, fortunate, F-O-R-T-U-N-A-T, fortunate, another adjective. What is a comparative and superlative? Fortunate, fortunater and fortunatest? No. Fortunate, how many syllables are there? 3. Fortunate, isn't it? 3 syllables. So, again, more fortunate and most fortunate, isn't it? More fortunate and most fortunate. Another word, spectacular, isn't it? Spectacular. In spectacular, how many syllables are there? Spectacular. Spectacular. How many syllables? How many natural division of sounds are occurring? 4, isn't it? So, 4 syllables. So, if an adjective contains 3 or more than 3, everywhere more and most one. So, spectacular, more spectacular, most spectacular, isn't it? Okay. So, if the adjective is of a monosyllabic and triosyllabic and more, no problem. Monosyllabic, simply add ERST, and with the triosyllabic and more, just add more and most. But if the adjective is of a duosyllabic, if the adjective contains 2 syllables, then there will be problem. Why? Because some duosyllabic adjectives take er and est for the formation of comparative and superlative, while some other 2 syllabic adjectives, duosyllabic adjectives take more and most. Let us see some duosyllabic adjectives and let us see what do they take. See this adjective clever, C-L-E-V-E-R, clever. How many syllables? 2 syllables. Clever, isn't it? Clever, isn't it? 2 syllables. Most clever or more clever and most clever or clever, cleverer, cleverest. Clever, cleverer, cleverest. Isn't it? Clever, cleverer, cleverest. Clever, cleverer, cleverest. Okay, right? See another word. Splendid. In splendid, how many syllables are there? Again 2. Splendid. Splendid. Isn't it? 2 natural division are coming. But here, what is splendider and splendidest? No. Here, more splendid and most splendid. Isn't it? More splendid, most splendid. Both are duosyllabic. But one take ER and ST, another take more and most. So, duosyllabic adjectives, you must be very careful. Okay, now let us take another duosyllabic word. See this. H-O-L-Y. H-O-L-Y. How many syllables? Only 2 syllables. Holy. What is comparative? Holier. What is superlative? Holiest. Now, let us see another word. See this word. H-O-N-E-S-T. Honest. In honest, how many syllables are there? Only 2. Honest. Honest. Isn't it? Honest. Comparative. Honesty or honest is? No. Honest. More honest and most honest. Isn't it? Honest. More honest and most honest, isn't it? And see this word, L-O-V-E-L-Y, lovely, lovely, 2 syllables. What is comparative? Lovely, more lovely, most lovely. Lovely, lovelier, loveliest. Lovely, lovelier, loveliest, isn't it? Lovely, lovelier, loveliest. See another word, jealous, J-E-A-L-O-U-S, jealous. In this duosyllabic, how many are there? Jealous, 2 syllables. What is comparative of jealous, jealouser, jealouses? No. Jealous, more jealous and most jealous, isn't it? More jealous and most jealous. So, if it is monosyllabic word, no problem. Simply add ER and ST. If the adjective contains 3 or more syllables, then also no problem. Simply add more and most. But if the adjective is of a duosyllabic word, you must be very careful. Some duosyllabic word take ER and ST for the formation of comparative and superlative, whereas some other take more and most. Okay, clear? Now, let us proceed. Let us do what we have to do. Actually, this is not what we have to study. We have to do transformation of sentence, isn't it? We have to transform a positive degree sentence into comparative and vice versa, comparative into superlative and vice versa. But before that, we must know what are these 3 degrees, a positive, comparative and superlative. What are these 3 degrees and how do we form these 3 degrees? That is why I discussed all these things. Now, let us do what we have to do. Okay, right? So, now you know what is positive degree, what is comparative degree, what is superlative degree, what is the quality of each degree, and what are we saying in each degree, everything we discussed. So, now let us start the transformation. I will write some sentences in any degree and let us transform it into other degrees. Okay, right, let us start. Sony TV set is the costliest costliest TV set. Sony TV set is the costliest TV set. What is the degree? Of course, it is in superlative degree. The costliest, costly, costlier, costliest, isn't it? Always the article the will be there just before the superlative degree. Okay, Sony TV set is the costliest TV set. What will be the comparative of this? Sony TV set is the costliest TV set. Sony TV set is, what is the comparative of costliest? Costlier, isn't it? Sony TV set is costlier, costlier than what? Costlier than any other TV set. Than any other TV set. Sony TV set is costlier than any other TV set. So, costlier, comparative degree. In a comparative degree, always what will be there? Will be there, then will be there. Isn't it? That you know. So, Sony TV set is the costliest TV set. Sony TV set is costlier than any other TV set. Is there any difference in meaning? No. Even though one is in superlative degree and another is in comparative degree, meaning is same, isn't it? That is what is transformation of sentence is all about. Just to change the form of the sentence without altering the sense of the sentence. Okay. Now let us change it into positive. Okay. This is superlative. This is comparative. How we will do it in positive? Yes. You have to start with the no other. Understood? No other TV set. No other TV set is costly, costlier. What is will be positive degree? Costly. Isn't it? Costly, costlier, costliest. So no other TV set is so costly. No other TV set is so costly as which it is as Sony TV set, isn't it? No other TV set is so costly as Sony TV set. So no other TV set is so costly as Sony TV set means Sony TV set is the costliest TV set, or Sony TV set is costlier than any other TV set. Even though these three sentences belong to three different degrees, meaning is same, isn't it? So that is the specialty with these three sentences. These three sentences belong to different degrees, but all of them express the same idea without having any bit of change in the meaning, isn't it? Okay, this is how we have to do the transformation of this. Now let us discuss some other sentences. I will give you sentence in any degree and let us try. No other peak in the world is so high as Everest. Okay. No other peak in the world. No other peak in the world is so high as Everest. Of course, the sentence is in positive degree. How we can convert into comparative and superlative? So high, isn't it? So high, higher, highest. We have to use. What will be the comparative? No other peak in the world is so high as Everest. So we have to start with Everest, isn't it? Everest is higher. Everest is higher than. Everest is higher than what? Everest is higher than any other peak in the world, isn't it? Everest is higher than any other peak in the world. Okay. No other peak in the world is so high as Everest. Means Everest is higher than any other peak in the world. What will be the superlative? Again we have to start with Everest only. Everest is the higher, highest. Isn't it? Higher, highest. Everest is the highest peak. Everest is the highest peak in the world. Everest is the highest peak in the world. Everest is the highest peak in the world means no other peak in the world is so high as Everest. Even though the three sentences are in 3 degrees, all of them express the same meaning, isn't it? Without any change in the difference of meaning, all the 3 sentences express the same idea in the same way. Okay, this is how we do the transformation. Okay, let us see another sentence. The more we practice, the better. Okay, right. This is time of COVID-19, so we can never forget coronavirus and COVID. So let us respect our virus by this sentence. COVID-19 is the most dreaded. COVID-19 is the most dreaded disease now. COVID-19 is the most dreaded disease now. Of course it is. So, most dreaded, isn't it? It is in superlative degree. How can we change it into positive? Positive, we must start with the no other, isn't it? Always in positive, we must start with the no other. No other what disease? No other disease. No other disease is so dreaded, isn't it? So dreaded. No other disease is so dreaded as what? As COVID-19. Yes. COVID-19 now. No other disease is so dreaded as COVID-19 now. Even though they are in different degrees, meaning is same. And what will be the comparative degree of this? In comparative also, we have to start with the COVID-19. COVID-19 is more dreaded. COVID-19 is more dreaded than any other disease now. COVID-19 is more dreaded than other disease now. Okay, so here sentences are in 3 different degrees, but all of them express the same meaning. Okay, let us see another. See the sentence of all the participants, she sang most beautifully. Of all the participants, she sang most beautifully. There were so many participants. Of all the participants who sang most beautifully, she sang most beautifully, isn't it? Superlatively. Here we are using an aid verb. Understood? So this comparative and superlative degree can be used with the aid verb also, not only with adjectives. So it is with the adjective and aid verbs that we use this comparative and superlative degree. Then what will be the comparative of this? She sang more beautifully. She sang more beautifully than any other participant. She sang more beautifully. than any other participant, isn't it? So she sang more beautifully than any other participant, means of all the participants she sang most beautifully. And what will be the positive? No other participant, no other participant sang so beautifully, no other participant sang so beautifully, yes, yes, she. No other participant sang so beautifully as she. So beautifully as she. Don't say so beautifully as her. So beautifully as she means so beautifully as she sang or she did. That is the meaning. Okay. So no other participant sang so beautifully as she. Very often people come to me say instead of so beautifully, sometimes people will be used yes in this degree. No other participant sang yes beautifully as she. Never use yes in a negative expression. So no other participant, isn't it? In negative always so as must be there. In positive you can use as. See this sentence. Mohan is yes or so tall as Raju, and Mohan is not so or as tall as Raju. See these two sentences. Mohan is as tall as Raju or Mohan is so tall as Raju. Which one is right? Mohan is as tall as Raju. Isn't it? So long as there is a positive idea, we must use as. Mohan is as tall as Raju. But if there is a negative idea, don't use as, you must use so as. So here what will be the word? Mohan is not as tall as Raju or Mohan is not so tall as Raju. Mohan is not so tall as Raju. Isn't it? So in negative expression always so must be the, in positive as will be the. So no other participant sang so beautifully as she. As she means as she did. Okay, right? So take into account all these kinds of common mistake that people commit while they transform sentence from one degree to another. See one more. Nothing travels. Nothing travels. This will be positive degree. Nothing travels so fast. Nothing travels so fast as light. Nothing travels so fast as light. So this is in what degree? This is in positive degree. Fast. Again adverb is coming. Fast, faster, fastest. Okay. So nothing travels so fast as light. What will be the comparative of this and the superlative of this? Okay. Light. Nothing travels so fast as light. So you must start with light. Light travels. Light travels faster. Faster, 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 isn't it? Light travels faster than nothing. It will become anything else. Light travels faster than anything else. Light travels faster than anything else. It is comparative. And what will be the superlative of this? Okay. Superlative will be like this. Of all the things. Of all the things, light travels fastest. Of all the things, light travels fastest. Light travels the fastest, don't say. Only with adjective we will use article the. But when we have a adverb, don't use the with the superlative degree. Please remember that also. So, nothing travels so fast as light. Light travels faster than anything else. Of all the things, light travels fastest. Is there any difference in meaning? No. Even though the three sentences are three different degrees, meaning is same, isn't it? So, from one form we can convert into another without making any difference in the meaning of the sentence. This is what is called transformation of sentence. Changing the form of the sentence without altering the sense of the sentence. Okay, so now we have done the transformation of positive and comparative and superlative degree sentence also. Now let us do some drilling and practice. Then you will get a very concrete idea about everything. Things will properly stick to your memory. So I will give you some 10 sentences for drilling and practice, and I will give you some time. You just try to do it yourself, and when I discuss the answers, you compare your answers with my answers. Okay, right. Okay, so these are the 10 sentences. All these kinds of sentences we have done already. So I hope you can do it easily. So I will give you some 5 to 6 minutes time to do this. And when I discuss the answers of these questions, you just compare your answer with my answers. Okay? So now you pause your video and seeing these questions, you do the work. Pause the video now and do the work. I will give you some 5 to 6 minutes. Then you just compare your answers with my answers. Okay, right? Your time starts now. Okay, over. Done the task correctly. Okay, don't worry. Let us see the answers. The Ganges is the longest river in India. The Ganges is the longest river in India. The sentence is in superlative degree. In the bracket, direction is given. You have to convert into positive and comparative, isn't it? Very simple. We have done it. The Ganges is the longest river in India. What will be the positive? No other river. We have to start with positive with no other, isn't it? Okay. No other river in India is so long. Long, isn't it? Comparative. No other river in India is so long as the Ganges. No other river in India is so long as the Ganges. Okay, you got it? Right. Then what will be the comparative? The Ganges is the longest river in India. The Ganges is longer. Longer. The Ganges is longer than any other river in India. The Ganges is longer than any other river in India. Okay, very simple. So first we converted. Come to the second. No other novel I have read is so interesting as this. No other novel I have read is so interesting as this. Obviously, the given sentence is in positive degree. You have to convert into comparative and superlative, isn't it? Okay, easy. No other novel I have read is so interesting as this. What will be the comparative? This is, or this novel is. Both are correct. This novel is, or this is more interesting. More interesting. This novel or this is more interesting than any other novel I have read. This novel is more interesting than any other novel I have read. Okay, right? That will be the comparative. And what will be the superlative? No other novel I have read is so interesting as this. This is the most interesting. More interesting, most interesting. The most interesting. This is adjective. This is the most interesting novel I have read. This is the most interesting novel I have read. That will be the superlative. You got the answer? Okay. Don't worry, by practice you will become perfect. So this is the most interesting novel I have read. Okay, right? Then let us see the next. America is scientifically more advanced than any other country in the world. America is scientifically more advanced than any other country in the world. Obviously, the given sentence is in which degree more advanced, comparative. So, you have to change it into positive and superlative, isn't it? Okay. So, first let us change it into positive. So, what you will get? Positive, you have to start with the no other, isn't it? So, how will you get no other country? No other country in the world, no other country in the world is scientifically so advanced as America. What is it? No other country in the world, no other country in the world is scientifically so advanced as what? So advanced as America. This will be positive. And what will be the superlative of this? In superlative, most will come, isn't it? America is scientifically the most advanced country in the world. America is scientifically the most advanced country in the world means no other country in the world is scientifically so advanced as America, isn't it? Meaning is same, but the degree is different. That is all. Okay. Now let us see these sentences. From here onwards, we have sentences in active voice and passive voice. So instruction is given. Accordingly, we have to convert it. They were questioning the spy. They were questioning the spy. The sentence is in past continuous active voice. We have to convert it into passive voice. What is the past continuous passive voice structure? Subject plus was or verb plus being plus past participle, isn't it? So very simple. They were questioning whom? The spy. So we have to start the passive with the object, isn't it? So the spy was being questioned by them. What will be the passive? The spy was being questioned by them. Food is prepared by her every day, isn't it? This is simple present passive, isn't it? Simple present passive. That we have to change it into active, isn't it? Food is prepared by her every day. So who is doing the action? Her. She is doing the action, isn't it? So what will you get? She prepares food every day. She prepares food every day. So she prepares food every day will become food is prepared by her every day, isn't it? Okay, quite simple. Carry out my orders. Carry out my orders. It is a command. So this command is an active voice. We have to convert it into passive voice. Okay. I have already told you what is the passive structure of a command. Passive. When you convert a command into passive, you must use this structure: let plus object plus be plus past participle, isn't it? Okay. So we have to start this with let. Let plus object. What is object here? My orders. Carry out what? My orders. So let my orders be carried out. Let my orders be carried out. Let my orders be carried out will become carried out. You got it? So All these things we have done in our active and passive voice class. Everything about active and passive. So for getting more details about all these, you just view that video once again. Okay, right then. By whom were you brought the news? By whom were you brought the news? This question is in past. Which past? Simple past. Simple past, which voice? Passive voice. By whom were you brought the news? By whom were you brought the news? This simple past passive question, you have to change it into active question. Isn't it? Simple past active. So, by whom were you brought the news? So, what will be the active question? By whom? So, by whom will become who? Isn't it? Who brought you the news? What we will get? By whom? That will go to who. Who brought you the news? Who brought you the news? Question mark. That will be the active form of this passive question. So, who brought to you the news will become by whom were you brought the news in passive. So, by whom were you brought the news? Who brought to you the news? Meaning is saying, did you ever hear such a story? Did you ever hear such a story? This question is in active form. You have to convert into passive form. Did you ever hear? This question is in which tense? Simple past, isn't it? So, simple past. We have to simple past active. We have to convert into passive. Did you ever hear such a story? So, did you ever hear what such a story? This is object, isn't it? So, how will we get? Was such a story ever heard by you? Was such a story ever heard by you? Because what is the passive structure of simple past? Simple past passive? Subject plus was or verb plus past participle, isn't it? So, was such a story ever heard by you? Okay, right? Was such a story ever heard by you? Question mark. Then you must arrest him. You must arrest him. So here you have a modal auxiliary. If a modal auxiliary infinitive etc. is there, you must use be. I already told you. You must arrest whom? Him. So him will become he in active. You must arrest him. So this is an active. In the passive, this him will become he. So what will you get? He must be arrested by you. You must arrest him. He must be arrested by you. So he must be arrested by you. Full stop. It has to be done by them. It has to be done by them. This is in passive form. We have to convert it into active form, isn't it? It has to be done by you. It has to be done by them. So, who have to do the action? Them. So, them will become they, isn't it? So, what will you get? They have to do it. They have to do it. They have. Here has is the way because object is it. But this them will become they. It will come as subject. Then they take have only. So they have to do it. They have to do it will become it has to be done by them. Okay. So these are very simple things. So now I think you have got a very clear, concrete idea about how to transform active voice sentence into passive and vice versa, and how to convert positive degree sentence, comparative degree and superlative degree sentence. And I think there is no need of any recapitulation for this because these are very simple things. And if you have any problem, once again you go through the video as many times as possible you go through. Then whatever doubts will be clarified because I have in detail I have discussed everything. And still if you have any doubt or if you need any clarification, just express it in the comment box. Okay, right. So only one transformation remains to be done, that is the transformation of simple, compound and complex sentences, isn't it? simple compound complex, it is a little bit higher order grammar, a little bit advanced level. That is why I have exclusively reserved one class for this, isn't it? Our third session will be exclusively for the transformation of simple compound complex sentence. It is not so easy as the first four ones. It is a little bit advanced level of grammar, but don't worry. So in the next session we will be doing that. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this session. So if you enjoyed the session, please don't forget to click the like icon, and if you wish to subscribe the channel, that also you can do. So till we meet with the next transformation. Okay, thank you, take care.